Hello there. So a few things have happened. Um, I've got the 55 set up. The stand came early. It was great. It's a really nice stand, actually. And my boyfriend of 9 years and our buddy that just moved in with us put it together for me. My wrist is a little sore. I don't know if anybody follows me on Instagram, but I have CRPS, so my nerves flare up every once in a while, and it's lovely. That, and I discovered I had been at work for 3 weeks with a dislocated wrist, which is why my CRPS flared up. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoy my tank so much as well. I'm also, if you go by astrology, I'm a Pisces. I know it doesn't mean anything. It's just still just fun. I am a water baby. We live in a beach town, grew up in a beach town, and my parents couldn't drag me out of the water. I was swimming when I was 1. And I would go down to the beach by myself by the time I was in my teens, like early teens, preteen, and just be in the water for hours. And anytime we've ever gone on vacation, I'm in the pool. You won't get me out of it unless I really need to eat. But even then, I'd rather not. So we start off with the goldfish. Goldfish are fine. They're hanging down there. They don't like the camera. As an example of size, Ghost is huge. That is a Hydor 5. It's for up to 125 gallons, and of course there's 3 of them. So you see them swim by. But Ghost is huge. Ghost is about 7 inches long now, and a monster. And of course you got the commons that we rescued, or not, we didn't rescue, or my boss rescued and then asked if I would take them. They're 8 inches long now, especially the big one. I think she's almost close to 9 inches now, and huge. A little bit stunted from what she found them in. It was like a half-a-gallon tank. Now look at them. On to the next ones. Alright, I'm going to start with the 55. I know normally I go straight to the 90, but this ties in with all the changes. And the 90 would give it away. This one sort of does, but only if you know what you're looking for. Yes, hello, Sai. I see you. And Tyrus is here somewhere. Tyrus is the Senecal, Bicher, Bishar, however you say it, the Polypterus senegalis, which is where his name comes from, Tyrus, Polypterus, Tyrus, so Tyrus, I know I'm a goof. So there's a bunch of plants in here from a certain other tank that I had to break down and make an axolotl tank. I was told by my boyfriend, no more tanks. And I knew I needed another tank to split up the axolotls because the 3 GFP ones are now a year old and they're obviously males. Toothless is an obvious female and she's 2 years old. So breeding could happen at any point and I don't want that yet. And then potato chips. So 7 axolotls in a 75-gallon tank is not good. That and males and females. So I had to rearrange some things. But it is what it is. You're in a relationship with somebody, you have to compromise. Anywho. So I'm really liking this tank now. Obviously, the hornwort and agarria that I planted in here in the corners is already starting to shoot up. Can't really see it, but it's in the corner over there. Already starting to shoot up. But there's some hygrophila in here now. Huge cryptocorn Usteriana. I believe that's how you pronounce it. A couple other things in here. I forget what the name of them are because they were in that other tank for so long. And looks like I have some uprooted plants, of course. Anywho. Okay. Now, on to the 90-gallon. Which is sitting over here. In its usual spot. So, of course, my 90-gallon. And like I said, it would give it away, especially if somebody happened to see that little angel swim by. And if they spotted Wonky, who is over there. The 65 is no longer the Tetra shrimp tank. Every inhabitant of the 65, including my little red neon girl, is now in this tank. Unfortunately. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So I will be putting another filter on here because I need to up the filtration. Luckily I have a lot of plants. It's very heavily planted, so it should be okay. But I will be upping the water changes as well. And there's Wonky. Wonky's doing great. Tiger barbs don't bother him. Got some black neons up here. The unfortunate thing from switching over, these tiger barbs here had a great time gorging themselves on my shrimp. Shrimp are starting to learn to get away. One just escaped there. That's why I moved the camera. Nobody's needed to see the shrimp get eaten. So one thing I did was go down to our local beach, grab some rocks, clean them off, and they're kind of piled in a certain way, and then all the rocks from the 65 gallon are in there, plus the moss. So I'm trying to create a real good hiding spot for the shrimp, and it seems to be doing well so far. And then of course I have all that floating plant that was also in the 65. And there's a shrimp right there. So I'm hoping that they will come back. I'm also thinking of taking some of that hornwort or the densa, and sticking some in there and just making this an impenetrable forest. It grows a lot faster than my alternanthera. But the shrimp are learning that these fish will eat them, whereas my tetras barely touch them. Just here and there. Everybody else seems to be doing good. Got my neons were already living in here, and then I had put them in the 65 and moved them back. Glow lights are okay. One other thing, I do now have 6 gudgeons in here. Luckily it's 2 males and 4 females. I'm hoping they just chill. It's a 90-gallon tank, obviously heavily planted. I figure if 4 male bettas can learn to get along in here, then they should be able to. I don't think any fry is going to survive at all, but we'll see what we can do. All right, 1 second. So I just noticed, just before I moved on to the next tank, that the flow from the AquaClear 110 had slowed, and of course it was because all the clippings in that had gone into, I do have netting there obviously, but it had packed up. So everybody's all excited now. The white clouds love going in the flow, especially when it's getting close to water change time and the water level's a bit lower, so then you get more of the waterfall effect. And obviously, being from mountains, I guess, and the white cloud, hello Betta. Here comes the reservoirs. Everybody just loves it. Even the Betta. There's one male betta, that's his territory in the back by the filter. That one kind of just goes everywhere. And then we still have Firefly, and we still have Jane. Everybody's still in there. Alright, now I can move on. I just thought that was hilarious. So down here, obviously some changes. They're hiding. There's Big George. So all the males are in here that I've figured out to be males. Usually you can't tell until they're 18 months old for sure, but Bulba, Nuka, and Pluto are very obvious boys. They are big boys. So there's the 4 boys. I got them a couple things just to play with in their tank. There's Nuka back there just hanging out. I should probably fix that sponge filter before I forget. Of course, when I was moving everything around yesterday, I cleaned sponge filters and this and that, so. That's better. Now it's back on. Anyway. So, can't really tell who that is down there. I'm pretty sure it's Bulba. Bulba is the smallest. And then in here, it's Potato Chip. I gotta do another water change because the water's gone up in temperature. Hiding because I was fooling around with the tank. You know, you're supposed to go on the netting, not under, sweetie pie. So I went to the dollar store today because I had rearranged the other tank. I was trying to find hammocks or anything I could use for hammocks. I couldn't find any of the soap dishes. None. They didn't have any. They had that kind, but I'm not real happy with that kind. I wanted this kind. So I thought, well, maybe I can make my own. And it doesn't look super duper pretty. It's actually a rubber bath mat that goes inside your tub. So suction cups all over it on the bottom there. Which is kind of cool. But they do like to float. Oh well. It works. And of course, when I moved potato chip over from the 10-gallon, which used to be over in the corner here, you can't really see because of the light, but there's the 20 and the 10 sitting there. The 10's on the floor. And of course, potato chip had to be moved. Potato chips in there, so everything from there is from the 10-gallon, just to make him homey. And then gave him the flower pot. He, she, really hoping it's a girl, since I only have possibly two girls so far, and only one for sure. Gah. Alright. On to the last one. So this is now the 65. I miss my 65, but I'm starting to like this. George, or Toothless, who is in the back, has much more room now. And there's Spook. Like I said, I added that from the dollar store today. That's from the dollar store. And that's actually a kitchen dish mat. I just thought I'd try it out. I had some handy, or suction cups handy, so see how it works. It's silicone, so it should be fine in the tank. And same with the bath mat. It's all silicone. Shouldn't hurt anything. I had to raise that onto rocks because Spook went inside and I was just so worried it was going to get caught. So that's why it's up, so if Spook gets in there, it can get out. There's Toothless. See you so rarely. And sorry, everything's all kicked up because of course I was putting the netting, and I threw that in there for them. Added a couple more fake plants. I'm not going with real because they are really bad for uprooting, other than the alternate there. And I'm sorry about the camera work. Just all over the place tonight. And that's the Aponganite Crispus. I'm hoping it does better in here. Now that there's it's the same light that I had on the 65. I'm not changing the light. I usually switch it to the blue to make these guys more comfortable. They don't really like the bright light, but I'm keeping it on for a few hours right now because of the Aponganite. And these guys will just have to get used to it. So, getting used to this tank no longer being the shrimp Tetra tank. It's going to take a bit. It was one of my favorites to stare at and one of my favorites to play with. Like I said, with CRPS, it gave me a reason to get up and stretch my muscles in that. CRPS is nerves. So there's nothing really you can do with it, but if you don't move the tendons in that, you can cramp up for sure, because when you have CRPS, everything just cramps. It's like you've got Charlie horsing everywhere, and it's constant all the time. And so the tanks keep me moving. I mean, the dogs do too, but the tanks, you constantly have to be doing something. And water change day, I can't go, no, I don't feel like it. Hi, Toothless. It's got to be done. Hi. Hi, big girl. You hardly ever see her because that other tank was so dark. She always hid, which is funny because it was so dark. Hi, sweetie pie. She's a big girl. She's bigger than George. Big old Melanoid. Bonk. Still learning the boundaries of this tank, obviously. And there's Spook in the background. Yeah, you don't see her that often anymore. Hi, gorgeous. I mean, this I'll get used to. I am starting to like it more now that I have more stuff in here. And I'm happy seeing her. I haven't really seen her much since I got her, other than when I'm switching them around in tanks and stuff, so. Anyway, from everybody else, Me and Toothless say good night.